What do you think of the decision, Rim? Keputusan player-player untuk sebulat suara keluar padang and decide, no, we're not moving on with this game.
No, Ben, I think you're right. It's become such a normal thing for people to just throw out random terms like that. Sebab there's no accountability. But I feel like the players taking a stand, especially a team as big as PSG, to stand in solidarity with the Istanbul team, with the coach, with the assistant coach, and players like Neymar and Mbappe, you know, like just walking off the field, refusing to play, makes a stand. And hopefully, like, it's also going to be, sorry, I'm speaking fully English sebab kalau I opinionated ni kan, I tak nak macam so I think it's a great catalyst, and it will hopefully be like the first of many teams in the future, or players or whatever, you know, that racism is actually not acceptable. Because I was listening to this podcast just over the weekend, because this happened at Millwall as well, right? They took the knee, and then the fans booed them. The Millwall fans booed, and it was such a sad incident because it's the first time fans are coming back to the stadium, and then you boo the players for taking the knee, for standing up or standing in solidarity with the Black Lives Movement. And I think, especially in a year 2020 when there's a pandemic, like the pandemic is the main enemy, right? Not each other. If anything, we should be united against a bigger enemy, and racism should not really be a talking point at this point, but unfortunately it is. And like I was saying, I was listening to this podcast, and Leanne Sanderson, a female footballer, I think she used to play for Arsenal, if I'm not mistaken, and she was saying, at that time, prior to this PSG game, she was like, if that happened to me, if the fans booed me, I would have just walked off the pitch. And I would hope that my teammates would support me as well. And then a few days later, this happened. So it's like, she said that's the only way, because, okay, maybe it's just a small minority yang racist, tapi you kena take accountability as a whole. Especially this one is like a match official. Like, it's not even a fan, it's a match official that is saying things
aku
like
macam
this.
tak percaya bila aku dengar pasal benda tu, Rim. I couldn't believe it, because how could, I mean, okay, the incident was this Romanian match, fourth official actually pergi dekat bench player Istanbul. Dia cakap dekat peer Weibo, tak silap aku nama dia, the black guy, hey, dalam bahasa Romania dia cakap macam tu. So Nick, bila kau dengar benda macam ni, like, you know, things like like calling people by their colour or by their race or whatever, and then Dembaba keluar cakap, in other words, dia keluar cakap, kenapa kau nak cakap bila kau panggil orang kulit putih, you don't say hey white guy?
No, for sure. I mean, it's a really, obviously there's no black. It's a difficult topic. For me there's overt racism where there's like the monkey chants from the stands, which obviously is deplorable. But then there needs to be, I feel there's a grey area in between as well, where I feel like there are cultural, not in this circumstance, but there are cultural differences. For instance, in Malaysia, a black player comes to train with the team, they call him Itam straight away. They say Itam bagi bola. And then we talked about Cavani.
Wait, do you mean when you play football that happens as well within your circle of players?
What do you mean?
As in, like, you know, when you're training with your fellow players, does that happen with
It's normal though, but the whole idea of, like I said, it seems like in the Malaysian culture and also in the South American culture, you can do it by physical appearance. I mean, you shouldn't. I'm not saying it's right, but it seems to be ingrained in the culture. So, for instance, with Cavani, Negrito, you know, and you say Gino, Flaco,
Suarez as well with Patrice.
But for sure, it has got a different context. So I'm saying it's while we should be calling out overt racism, there's sometimes there is a cultural mixture there where we do need to have a bit of understanding, and if anything, educate them rather than, whilst I do stand, obviously we're walking off the field, there needs to be education too.
Right. So, you know, recently you mentioned Cavani, okay, and kita dah tahu pasal isu Cavani, kawan-kawan. So Rim, diversity inclusion program itu adalah sesuatu yang ada dekat UK sekarang. And fine, kau boleh kata benda tu normalize, kau boleh kata benda tu dalam culture dorang tu normal. If it's in Uruguay, it means nothing, or in Spanish, it doesn't mean as bad. But the reality is, kau dekat negara orang. So at the same time, some people may say you're ignorant ataupun kau buat tak tahu.
When you say kau, you mean the player?
I mean, some people will say kau meaning Cavani lah, or whoever, right?
Okay.
So bila benda tu berlaku, kau tak rasa ke macam diorang should take the initiative on their own to actually educate themselves, or perhaps now fourth officials should be part of the diversity inclusion program.
Well, yeah, 100%. Like you said, kind of it starts with education.
It's all education.
I don't know, maybe if clubs need to implement some sort of moral etiquette classes now to all the foreign players that are coming in. Tapi it's good that it starts with a Premier League, which is such a big league watched by everyone around the world, and hopefully it will trickle to the other leagues, including here in Malaysia as well, because I don't know how seriously they take it here. This FAM take racism.
But just to add on that point as well, it's really important to know where the intention comes from. So if it's actually calling out the person like from the stands, then that's obviously again horrible. But if it's from a place of ignorance, then we need to come from a place of understanding on the other side.
And then ramai fans yang dah mula bersuara. Okay, sebelum aku cerita point aku ni, kita layan caller seorang dulu Hello, siapa di sana?
Hello.
Yo, semangat namanya. Yo, saya. Nama siapa bang? Dari mana?
Nama saya Irfan Ali.
Irfan yang kerja Astro Arena tu. Macam mana kau tembus tu? Okay, Fan. Aku tak mau banyak buang masa sebab aku rasa lebih ramai lagi nak call lepas ni. So aku nak tanya kau direct pasal benda racism ni kan. UEFA ni diorang rajin nak saman orang, nak dendakan orang apa semua. Tapi bila fourth official dia sendiri yang membuat sesuatu sebesar ini, apa tindakan yang fair kau rasa yang harus UEFA lakukan kepada fourth official ni?
Aku rasa apa-apa pun kena check balik dia punya understanding on cultural differences Sebab macam kau sembang dengan Nick hari tadi, Nick ada tu, it depends on dia punya understanding. So kalau dia memang on purpose, paling aku rasa just buang terus.
Yes.
Because sekarang ni racism is very very serious, and dengan the booing dekat main wall apa semua tu, and then banyak lagi terjadi. So ada action need to be taken. So baru orang macam kalau aku buat macam ni, aku kena macam ni. So at least there's disciplinary system, and plus to avoid benda tu jadi in the future lah.
Okay, aku setuju dengan kau Fan. Sebab hakikatnya the thing is, it's so funny, kelakar benda ni jadi pada waktu sekarang, di mana senario ni kalau kau tengok, you take the knee before every freaking game kan.
Betul.
Kau nampak benda tu berlaku, and still benda ni boleh jadi. And I'm sure fourth official tu sendiri dalam game PSG tu took the knee. Dia faham ke take the knee tu apa Fan? Contoh.
Betul, itu betul juga. Sebab kadang orang buat just for the sake sebab orang lain buat. So the understanding need to be there first, and then baru macam okay, kita buat ni sebab kita nak support this movement. Kalau diorang tak tahu, diorang tak faham.
Okay, Fan, aku nak ucap terima kasih. Aku nak tanya pendapat yang sama kepada Nick dan juga Rim. Boleh
Aku ada soalan.
Kau ada soalan apa dia Fan?
Aku nak join Man on the Street ni.
Kau nak apa? Kau nak join Man on the Street? Boleh. Tapi kau kena berhenti kerja Astro Arena dulu. Terima kasih Fan.
Alright, Kevin.
Mana kau boleh tembus? Punilah ramai kat sini. Okay, seorang lagi kita layan. Hello.
Bola sepak terhangat sudah tiba. Rekrut bintang-bintang pemain bola terhebat bagi pasukan anda. Uji formasi dan taktik anda untuk mengalahkan pengurus lain. Bina pasukan impian anda hari ini.